Hi guys, welcome back to another tutorial. Today I'll be sharing with you guys how I made this beautiful flared play suit with a bow in front. So if it's something you're interested in, please keep on watching and let's get started. So we're going to be drafting this pattern on our pattern paper, and we're going to be folding it this way. As you can see, I added extra paper to it. I had to join paper to it so that I can get the full length of the short I want to cut. So I'm just going to go ahead and fold it this way. When you're folding, make sure you fold properly and make sure all the edges are lined so that it will be easy when cutting. So we're going to be cutting out the front pattern first and be using it to cut out the back. So what I'll do is I'll come to the tip of this paper like so, and I'm going to go ahead and divide my waist circumference by 3 instead of 4 because this is a flared short. So my waist circumference divided by 3 is actually 10.6, and I'll just go ahead and mark it all the way like so. So at this point, I'll go ahead and use my ruler to connect. So now we're going to be measuring the length of this short, and I'll just place my tape rule on that line that I marked first. I will now measure the length. For me, I'll be using 19 inches. So if you want yours longer, you can add more allowance to it. And this 19 inches is inclusive of my sewing allowance. So all you need to do is just mark the length of your shorts all the way like so. So what I'm going to do next is I'll use my curved ruler to connect. If you don't have a curved ruler like this, you can just use your free hand to connect. So the next measurement I'm going to take right now is my crotch depth. My crotch depth is 12 inches, but I'm not going to mark 12 inches because this is like a play suit. So we have to add 1 inch to it to make it 13 inches. So for it to drop so that it will have that line at your crotch, so just add about 1 or 2 inches to it. So I'm going to be adding 1 inch to mine. So that will be 13 inches for my crotch depth. So now I'm going to be marking my crotch extension, and I'm still going to place my tape rule on that crotch line like so. And to get my crotch extension, all I need to do is divide my hip circumference by 4. So my hip circumference divided by 4 is about 10.5. So I'll go ahead and divide that 10.5 as well, and to give me about 2.6. So it's the 2.6 that I marked here now. That's my crotch extension. Please don't forget. So now I'm going to go ahead and connect it like so to my waistline. So I'll just connect it like this. So now towards the hem, I'll just slightly come in by about 1 inch, and I'll go ahead and mark it upwards to my crotch extension like so. So now I'm going to be making a curve at the crotch. You know that curve we normally have at our crotch. I'm going to go ahead and mark it, and by doing so I'll just come up here by 1 inch, and I'll use my curved ruler to connect. So this will give me a perfect curve for my crotch. So that is it for the front pattern, and right now I'm just going to cut it out. Any allowance I'll be adding will be added to my fabric when I'm cutting. So right now I'll just go ahead and cut it out. So I'm going to be using this black satin fabric to make this play suit. The picture on my thumbnail, they actually use a Mikado silk, but for me, I'm going to be using 2 yards of this fabric, and I'll fold it into 2. So when you're folding your fabric, please make sure you leave about 3 inches allowance at this side. This is because we are going to be adding extra extension, because this is the back. The back crotch extension is always longer than the front. So right now I'm going to be adding 2 inches for my crotch extension. So if you have a bigger belt, you can use about 2.5 inches. For me, I'll just use 2 inches. Then I'm going to go ahead and use my ruler to connect it like so. Then I also connect this part like so. So now I'll be using my chalk to trace out the back pattern with the front pattern paper. So I'll just use it to trace it out like so. So once I'm done tracing, I'll just remove my pin so that I can add my allowances to it. So at this point, I'll be adding all the necessary allowances, and the first thing I'll do is I'll come to my waistline to check my waist circumference. My waist circumference divided by 4 is 8 inches, and you can see that I have up to 9 inches here. So there's no need for me to add extra allowance to my waistline, but if you want to, just in case, you can add about half an inch or 1 inch, but for me, I'm going to be leaving mine like that. So now I'm going to be adding half an inch to this crotch part like so. This would be to join the crotch together and also to add my zipper allowance. So you can add between half an inch to 1 inch, but for me I'll be adding half an inch here like so. So I'll just go ahead and connect the points that I marked. So now I'll come to my waistline and add half an inch, and this half an inch will be to join my short to the upper part of this play suit. Then I'll just go ahead and connect the point. So I'll come to this part and add half an inch as well, and I'll use my ruler to connect. So we are done adding all the necessary allowances, so we are going to cut out. So if you added an extra allowance to this side, all you need to do is just use your chalk to trace it out and cut it. So this is our back pattern. I'm just going to place it aside. So now we're going to be cutting out the front, and remember that my fabric is on fold, and I added the same allowances I added to the back. I added it to the front as well. So right now I'm just going to cut it out. So this is our front pattern, and I'll just place it aside. So the upper part of this play suit is going to be having a spaghetti strap, and the first thing I'll do is that I'm going to mark about 2 inches here like so. I'm just going to mark it to be a guideline for drafting this top. Then I'll use my ruler to connect. So now I'm going to place 5 inches on that line like so. So that 5 inches I placed, from there on I'll mark all the measurements I want to mark. So the first measurement I'm marking here is my armhole measurement, which is 8 inches. So the next measurement I'll be taking, still placing my tape rule on the 5 inches, is my waistline. So my waist is 16 inches, but I'll be adding extra half an inch to it for sewing allowance, which will make it 16.5 inches. Please note where I placed my tape on. I placed it on 5 inches before marking. So now I'll just use my ruler to connect. So at this point, I'm going to be marking my neck width, and I'll be using 4.5 inches. So you can use between 4 to 5 inches. For me, I'll be using 4.5 inches. So now I'll come to this armhole line, and I'll go ahead and divide my bust circumference by 4. So my bust circumference divided by 4 is 9.5 inches, and I'll go ahead and mark it. Then I'll add 1.5 inches for my sewing allowance. You can add between 1 inch to 1.5 inches. For me, I'll just go ahead and add 1.5 inches. So now I'm going to use my ruler to connect. I'll be using the curved part of it, and I'll just use it to make a curve like so. So this will be my armhole. So now I'll come to my waist circumference and divide my waist by 4. My waist divided by 4 is 8 inches. So this top is going to have a dart, and I'll be adding 1 inch for my dart allowance before adding my sewing allowance of 1.5 inches. So now I'll just go ahead and use my ruler to connect. So now we're going to be shaping the neck of this top, and what I'll do is I'll come down by 2 inches from my neckline like so, and I'll use my ruler to connect to the neck width. So see the way I placed my ruler, I'll just go ahead and make a slight curve like so. So we're done drafting the front of this top, and I'll just go ahead and cut it out. So before cutting the neck of this top, I'm going to be leaving about 1/4 inch for allowance to join the facing. So make sure you leave allowance at the neck to join it. So I'm going to be using this front pattern to cut out the back. So right now I'm going to be drafting out the back pattern, and my fabric is on fold, and I left about 1.5 inches at this point for my zipper allowance. So I'll divide that 1.5 inches into 2. It will give me about 0.75. I will mark it. So I'll use my ruler to connect it all the way up like so. I'm just trying to eliminate any zip bulge. So I'm going to use my ruler to extend this part as well. So that is that for the back. I'll just go ahead and cut it out. So now we're going to be joining the pieces together, but before doing that, we're going to be cutting a facing for the upper part of this outfit we are making. So what I'll do right now is that I'm going to fold my fabric into 2, and I'll place this piece on top like so. I'll make sure everything matches, then I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. You can leave about 4 to 5 inches downwards for the facing. So now I'll be cutting it out, and I'll cut the armhole as well with it. So just follow how I'm cutting it. So this is what the facing will look like when you place it on your main fabric. So I'm going to be cutting out a facing for the back as well, and I'll just place my back pattern on top of this fabric like so, and I'll cut it out. So this is what I have after cutting. So now I'll be cutting out the strap of this dress, and I'll be using 1.5 inches for the width of the strap. Then for the length, I'll be using 10 inches. Remember, we removed 5 inches upwards when we were drafting the pattern. So if I add 5 inches to the 5 inches at the back, it will make it 10 inches. But I'll be adding extra half an inch to it to make it 10.5. So we'll be using 1/4 inch at each side to join. So I'm going to be cutting out 2 pieces of this. So now I'll be using 1/4 inch to join this strap, and I'll turn it over to the other side. So after turning it over, I went ahead to iron it, and this is what I have. So right now I'll be joining it to the upper part of this outfit, and I'll just go ahead and place it on top like so. You can see where I placed it. So I'm going to use about 1/4 inch to join it. So after joining it, this is what I have, and right now we'll be adding the facing to it. So I'm going to place the facing on top like so. You can see how I placed it, and the right side is facing each other. So the right side of the facing is facing the right side of the main fabric. So I'll be using 1/4 inch to join. So this is what I have after joining and ironing. You can see what it looks like. You can see how neat it looks. So now I'm going to be joining the strap to the back side of this pattern as well before adding the facing to it. So I'm going to do the exact thing I did at the front. I'm going to be doing it at the back as well. So I'm going to go ahead and join it all the way to the armhole. So after joining, I went ahead to iron it, and this is what it looks like. So now we're going to be taking the dart of this top, and what I'll do right now is I'll fold the front into 2 like so. You can see what it looks like. So I'll just fold it into 2. So after folding, I'm going to place 5 inches upwards on the strap like so, and I'll measure my shoulder to my nipple. So my shoulder to nipple is 10 inches, but I'm not going to be marking on that 10 inches. I'm going to come down by 1 inch, making it 11 inches. Then I'll divide my nipple to nipple measurement by 2. So my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2 is 4. So I'll mark that 4 inches here like so, and I'll go ahead and mark that same 4 inches downwards. So after marking, I'll just go ahead and use my ruler to connect it. So now I'm going to take half an inch on both sides of this line like so. So I'll mark half an inch here, and I'll mark half an inch at the other side as well. And I'll just go ahead and use my ruler to connect it all the way to my shoulder to nipple points that I marked. So I'll do the exact same thing at the other side, and I'll just fold it like this, and I'll take it to my sewing machine to join. So I'm going to be doing the exact same thing at the back. The only difference is that we're going to have to remove our zipper allowance first. So remember, we removed 1.5 inches for our zipper allowance. So I'll mark that 1.5 inches upwards. I'm going to pin it down first so it will be easy for me to mark. So I'll pin it all the way down. Then at the lower part, I'm going to mark the 0.75 inches that we marked when we were drafting. So I'll mark it at the lower part. So I'll just use my ruler to connect. So I already marked my shoulder to my nipple measurement. I came down by 1 inch, which is 11 inches. So I'll mark my nipple to nipple from my zipper allowance. So I'll mark 4 inches like so, and I'll use my ruler to connect. So I'll also take half an inch on both sides like I did at the front. Then I'll use my ruler to connect it and take it to my sewing machine to sew. And I'll be doing the same thing at the other side as well. So this is what it looks like after joining my dart. So I'm going to place the upper part of this outfit aside. We'll be focusing on the lower part now. So right now we are going to be joining the two pieces of the front together. We are going to be joining the crotch, and we'll be joining the two pieces of the crotch at the back as well together. So we'll be using half an inch to join them. So this is what I have after joining. This is the front and this is the back. So now after doing that, I'm going to be joining the upper part to the lower part. So what I'll do first is I'm going to fold the front into two like so, and I'll make a notch in the middle. So after making the notch, I'm going to place it on top of the middle part of the short. So I'm going to place it on top like so I'll know where to start from. So after placing it on top, I'm going to go ahead and use half of an inch to join. So this is what the front looks like, and I'll be doing the exact same thing at the back as well, but this time around I'm going to have to open the shorts up. So I'm going to use my tape rule to mark 9 inches. So that will be where my zipper will stop. So I'll place my tape rule on top of the waist like so, and I'll go ahead and mark 9 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and open up that 9 inches. So after opening it up, I'm going to double stitch on it. Then I'm going to sew the upper part on it using half of an inch. So I'm just going to place it like so, and I'll join with half of an inch. So this is what I have after joining it. You can see what it looks like. So right now we're going to be joining this part of the short. We're going to be joining the front part to the back. So I'm going to place both of them on top of each other like so, and I'll use about half of an inch to join. So after joining that part, I went ahead to fix my zip, as you can see. So I went ahead to fix the zip, and what I'll do right now is I'll flip it over to the other side, and I will use my body allowance to join both sides together. So after joining both sides together, this is what it looks like. So now we're going to be fixing the bow for this outfit, and what I'll do is I'll come to my armhole and measure what I have on both sides. So I'll place my tape rule here and all the way to the other side, and I have about 19 inches. So I'm going to note that 19 inches down. So now we're going to be cutting out the bow. As you can see, my fabric is on fold. So for the length of this bow, I actually marked 22 inches, but I realized that it was too long. So I would advise you to use about 18 to 19 inches. So for the width, I'm going to mark that 19 inches I marked first on the outfit. Then I'm going to add extra 10 inches to it. So that will make it 29 inches. So if you want your bow to be full, I would advise you add an air stay or a paper stay to it. So now I'm going to take it to my sewing machine and use about half of an inch to sew it all the way around. Then this small piece is for tying the bow, and is about 3.5 inches long, and the width is about 11 inches. So I'm going to go to my sewing machine and use about half of an inch to join this side. So now I'll be showing you guys how to turn it over. If you notice, all the sides are closed. So what I'll do now is that I'm going to mark whatever it is I have as my width, and I have 29. I'm going to divide that 29 by 2. It's going to give me about 14.5. So right now I'm going to go ahead and mark 14.5 in the middle of this fabric like so. So now I'll mark the length as well, and I have about 21.5. I'm going to divide that into 2 as well. So after dividing it into 2, it's going to give me about 10.25, and I'll go ahead and mark that. So this will be the middle of the fabric. So now I'm going to go ahead and pick up that middle part that I marked. I'll make sure I'm not taking the other side, just this first side. I'll pick it up. Just make sure the other side is not with it, because this is the only side we'll be cutting. So make sure the other side is not joined together. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut it like so. So you can see the hole I have here. You can make yours a little bit bigger, because we're going to be using it to turn the fabric to the right side. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the fabric to the other side. If you notice that you're having a little bit of difficulty while turning, you can trim it again a little bit and flip it to the other side. So this is what I have after turning it. So now make sure I bring out all the edges. So after doing that, I'll take it to my ironing table and give it a proper ironing. So I've gone ahead to join this as well, and I'm going to go ahead and iron it. So you can see the part I'm going to iron, so make sure you're ironing that mid part. So I'm done ironing, and this is what it looks like, and I'm going to be showing you guys how to join it to the outfit. So now I'm going to be joining the bow to the outfit, and I'm going to take the material I cut out. I'm going to place it on top like so. So I'll make sure that each sides are equal. So I left about 5 inches on each side to know that if they are equal or not. So I'm going to come to the middle of the playsuit like so. You can see that place, that neckline. I'll come to the middle and I'll start pleating. So take your time while doing this. So I'm just going to pleat it like this. So you can see the bow effect is coming out. You can see what it looks like. So now I'm going to be attaching this piece of material to it. That's to hold the bow together. So now I'll just place it in the middle like so, and I'll take it all the way around. Please make sure it's tight when you're doing this. So I'm going to make sure it's very tight and it's placed neatly. So I'm going to place it like this and fold it all the way around. So just watch how I'm doing it. So once I'm sure it's tight, I'm going to use my pin to hold it. So I'll hold it at the back like so. Then I'll use my scissors to trim out the excess. So this is what the bow looks like, and we're going to be attaching it to the playsuit. But before joining the bow to the playsuit, I'm going to be using my thread and needle to hold this part together. So I'll just attach it together, then remove the pin. So I'm going to be joining the bow to the playsuit now, and I'll make sure that this part is in the middle. So I'm just going to go ahead and join. As you can see, I'm not joining exactly from the front. I'm joining from the back. If you notice it, just watch how I'm doing it. So I'm done joining it, and this is what I have. And I also went ahead to join to the strap. This is because my bow was not really standing firmly because I didn't use any interfacing inside. So I went ahead to join into the strap as well. So you can see what I have. You can see what it looks like. So after that, I went ahead to hem the shorts, and this is what it looks like. And I went ahead to iron it as well. And we've come to the end of today's tutorial. Please, if you've not subscribed to my channel, don't forget to do so. You can also turn on your notification bell to receive videos from me. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye.